I'm sorry. Okay? I'm sorry. 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 I'm sorry,
okay? Hey, everybody, and welcome back to I'm Sorry, Okay? A podcast where we are watching so much Degrassi. I'm Mary here with Paul and LD, and this week we watched Season 1, Episode 7 of Degrassi Junior High, The Best Laid Plans. This episode is written by Jan Moore, directed by Kit Hood, and originally aired on March 1st, 1987. In this episode, Stephanie and Wheels start the rumor mill when they talk about plans for a big date. Arthur and Yick have plans to watch a porno flick.
That's like only sort of a good summary. I don't feel like Steph and Wheels really start the rumor mill.
They're just going on a date.
Yeah.
It's like other people start the rumor mill.
Stephanie is like telling her friend, well, I'm getting ahead of myself, but Stephanie is like, I'm ready to do anything. That feels like feeding a rumor.
But they ask. She's just answering their questions.
Okay.
She's kind of just like the whole time. She's just like, I'm so excited for this date.
It's
and
maybe more.
It's maybe questions.
That comment is maybe more just like, stop asking me. I don't know.
Yeah. She's very much like, get out of my business. But yes, so this is an episode about sex, basically.
Hell yeah.
Almost exclusively.
Yeah.
There's not really a conversation that happens in this entire episode.
That's unrelated. Yeah. That's true. All right. Well, let's get started. So Joey follows Steph out of Radich's class and makes some creepy doctor innuendo until Steph literally shoos him away so that she can talk to Wheels.
Oh my God. Yeah, he actually says, Joey D. Jeremiah, D stands for doctor, at your service. And then, you know, he tells her that she's missing a great opportunity and that he's got a great bedside manner, which is just disgusting.
D stands for fucking creepy. Doofus.
Yes. Absolutely. But, you know, he really gets what he deserves because the shooing away is just like absolutely brutal. And he's like so like upset about it.
We finally see both Wheels and Stephanie just shut this dude down, which I think he needed. He needed that reality check.
For sure.
He had it coming. So Steph is talking to Wheels and like acknowledges she messed up their last date and asks if he wants to go to a movie tomorrow. He agrees, and then they both walk away and do way too many fist pumps.
So much fist pumping.
Did you guys notice that inside of Wheels's locker, he has a Stephanie K for President sign?
Yes. Oh, yeah. So that honestly a very good detail and like very cute.
Yeah,
definitely.
I like it.
It's something you would put inside the locker if they were your friend or if they were someone you liked. So it doesn't seem like creepy stalker stuff. It's just like, this is my buddy.
Yeah, like I put it up when she was running and then I just like never took it down.
I love that.
He's part of that winning campaign.
Well, yeah, he really started in with the kisses. A winning strategy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, it has served her well. So after they talk, Joey is standing by the drinking fountain, like trying to look chill, but he's just been waiting to ask Wheels what Steph wanted to talk to him about. So Wheels tells him that she asked him to a movie, and he's basically like, bro, I know you like her, but she likes me, okay? And he says it like pretty, like he's kind of he's like setting a boundary, but he's also being like nice about it. He's just like, what do you like? She likes me. What do you want me to like do about it? And so Joey like just kind of pretends that he's okay with it. And then he starts doing his Joey Jeremiah thing and like just, you know, calling Wheels a sex machine, which he says very loudly.
Melanie and Kathleen start cracking up.
Yep, they overhear it, and I believe this is where the rumors begin.
Well, as previously discussed, Kathleen loves a bit of gossip.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Absolutely loves it. And this time she
think-
didn't even have to make it up. It was right there.
That's
They
true.
served it to her.
You know, she called Wheels a pervert.
Oh, for sure. And Joey.
I
And
think-
Steph, who's not even there.
Yeah.
Right. Like this is all sort of happening around them. And honestly, like the way that everyone is talking about sex in this episode is like so abstract. Like I don't think any of them actually know anything about what sex actually is.
Yeah, because they're all like 12. That's fine.
I mean, Wheels and Steph are supposed to be 14. Yeah.
That's true.
I still felt like the amount of pressure that everyone was putting on a first date seemed weird. It's not like, oh, this couple's been dating for a month or something and like rumors start. Like that the fact that they all expected like sex to happen on the first date between two 14-year-olds seemed like pretty extreme to me.
Yeah, man.
So Steph finds Vula in the girls' bathroom and tells her about the date. But Vula is still salty about Steph's previous behavior and Kiss Me Steph. And she just like has the snottiest attitude towards Steph. Steph says, I've apologized many times for not thanking you or giving my speech at the dance. But Vula is just like, girl, bye.
I am down. I love how petty she is being. Like, fuck Stephanie K. Her fake ass probably just sort of like half apologized, but like she doesn't actually care anyway. She's just like, why can't I complain to you about my lame ass problems anymore?
Well, we saw her apology in the pilot where she sees Vula in the stairwell and she's just like, I'm sorry. Like, guys just like that kind of thing. Like, she doesn't actually give.
Okay.
I'm sorry, okay? Like, she doesn't give a wholehearted apology. And so
Oh,
you can
no.
only imagine that after the dance, when she got drunk and Vula had to give her speech for her and then got in like a huge amount of trouble with her hot dad. Like, because this is the thing, right? Is Vula's not just pissed that like just about the campaign now. She's
Yeah.
also pissed about the fact that she got in trouble because Steph,
Right.
couldn't fulfill her presidential responsibilities at the dance. And honestly,
Very nice
I
way to
think-
say she got hammered, by the way.
Yeah, right? I felt like that was really diplomatic of me. But, for real, like Vula's not just pissed at Steph, she's also pissed a little bit at her own circumstance. And so she also associates Stephanie getting drunk at the dance with her getting in trouble. And, it's all wrapped up for her. And she's just like, oh, this must be my lucky day. The
Hell yeah.
school president's discussing her love life with me. And even then, Steph really downplays it and is like, how long are you going to drag this out? I've apologized. But we can only assume that her apology after the dance is probably about as flimsy as the one after the campaign. So I am still firmly on Team Vula here.
Same.
Yes, Vula seems like a very sincere person, and Steph does not seem like somebody who like truly reflects on her own actions.
No.
So she really thought that Vula would just like get over it, but Vula is absolutely not over it because Steph still doesn't get the way that she hurt her, and also Vula, she maybe would have made it home on time if not for Steph's antics.
Definitely.
All right, are y'all ready for this B plot?
Am I ever ready for an Arthur and Yick B plot?
You can never truly be prepared. So out in the hallway, Yick and Arthur are at Yick's locker. He kind of looks around before pulling a VHS out, which is called Swamp Sex Robots. Arthur is like, OMG, this is pornography.
Wow. Really channeling Kathleen there. You know what I mean? Like, instead of being like, you're a pervert, he's like, this is pornography. He doesn't just say like, whoa, you've got porn.
And he's like, this is pornography.
I want to know, how is Swamp Sex Robots a porno? Like, I know we'll never get the answer and we'll never know, but like, what is this porno? What are
Okay.
they like attempting to watch?
In
Was it
my
real?
mind, I didn't look into it.
I
But-
shockingly did not look this up.
In my mind, Swamp Sex Robots is a film about some like sexy women who are sort of like, have some kind of like maybe like a bikini, but then also some kind of like robot like paraphernalia. And then it's like a kind of lesbian porn. That's what I imagine. And they're like in a swamp, and then kind of doing like the robot and then also getting sexy.
So Swamp Sex Robots is not a real film, but it is a band from the Yukon Territory.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
I was just about to share that information too. I'm glad we can both do a lightning fast Google. I actually really like Mary's take on what Swamp Sex Robots could be. I kind of pictured it like, the fembots in Austin Powers where they shoot
Yes!
stuff out of their boobs. Like, that's definitely an element to this.
Right. Like, I think it's, what's confusing about it is the swamp part. Like, why are the robots in the swamp? Like, is this some kind of post-apocalyptic, like the robots like became like too smart and started coming for the humans, so then they got dumped in this swamp, but they're like still trying to like procreate, but they're kind of doing it wrong because they're robots.
I mean, it feels like the swamp would fry the motherboard.
I'm really just resisting doing an Austin Powers impersonation, so I hope we can move on soon because the longer we go, the less I'll be able to resist.
All right, so Yick has obtained this pornography by borrowing it from his brother, and his brother doesn't know about it yet. But he says that they can't watch it at his place because his grandma is always there, so he wants to watch it over at Arthur's.
Dude, watch it with your grandma. What's
yeah,
wrong
dude.
with that shit?
Maybe grandma would have some good insight for these kids. Maybe she would be the one adult with some good sex advice.
These are some serious pre-internet problems, I must say.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
I kept thinking that this entire time.
Like, where are we gonna like go to do this thing that we're like not really supposed to do? Probably these kids don't have like their own VCR in their bedroom.
No way.
I guess like here's the thing, right? Is like most of the friends that I've had growing up and as an adult now, if they grew up with like loads of dude friends, they watched porn together. I never watched porn with anyone that I knew. Even though I did have access to it. Like, first of all, my older brother, who is 11 years older than me, just his whole room was just plastered with titties. Like, that's the first thing. Like, just floor to ceiling boobies on motorcycles.
Sentient boobs riding a motorcycle.
That's it, no heads. And then, they all had that big tease, like blonde hair, and sometimes they'd have like a leather jacket over. It was a very niche, like nude sort of situation. And then also when I was
Bikes
a kid,
and babes.
Exactly. But also when I was a kid, we got cable. Just like your normal average cable. This was before we got the good cable, but we accidentally got like free pay-per-view for a really long time. And the only things I remember watching on it are the Winona Ryder version of Little Women, and I taped it off of pay-per-view, and porn because we got the Spice Channel.
Spice Channel.
Yeah, and I was just like, I wasn't a horny enough kid, so I was just like watching it being like, this is weird, and then I would just kind of move on and find something else to watch. Probably Nick at Nite, honestly, because I loved me some Dick Van Dyke, but which is probably the name of a porn, I bet, at some point. But I somehow still, even though I had free porn just like nonstop and a TV in my room, I never watched porn with my friends. Did you guys watch porn with friends?
So I'm going to say that, unfortunately, you're incorrect. We have watched porn with friends, you, me, and like I'd say maybe 3 or 4 other people. We're hanging out at a friend of ours named Chad. his dad was a single dad and he was out for the weekend one time, and his dad had a bunch of porn, I guess.
Holy shit.
And so we all got together. We crashed at Chad's dad's place. We were all eating pizza. We were like, whatever. And I think we watched a porn, and we like within 10 minutes, we're just like, this is uncomfortable and we should just keep playing video games. And that was that. That was my one and only group porn watching experience.
Okay, I have definitely blocked this memory out, but now that you have excavated it, I see it.
So I never really watched porn in a group setting, but I have been at parties where like someone would like put on porn as a joke. I remember specifically being at like one party where that happened, and it was like, well, I won't get into what kind of porn it was, but I was like absolutely not interested, and I like stayed in the other, it was like little person porn.
I was just about to say, I feel like I
Yeah,
know exactly what kind of porn this is going to be.
Oh yeah, because even as a teenager, I was like, this feels like it's making fun of little people, and I'm extremely uncomfortable. And so I stayed in the other room, but there's another party where someone put on Girls Gone Wild, and I had like only ever seen the commercials, you know, like late at night where like you get just to like when they're about to flash them titties and then it would cut off. So I was like just sitting at this party. I was like really interested. So I was just like watching Girls Gone Wild like by myself at this party.
Fucking baby bisexual moment. Jesus Christ.
The dude hosting like came over and he was like, "Are you like actually watching this?" And it was kind of cool because I was like, I mean, yeah, like you put it on, so like I'm watching it. Like I think he felt like a little bit like called out for like having this on, because I was just like, "Oh, you're gonna play this? Well, then I'm gonna sit here and watch it."
I've had to explain Girls Gone Wild to people before, by the way. The same way that I explain late night commercials for Pure Moods.
Yes.
Our favorite 90s compilation advertised on television. I've also had to explain, you know, that Girls Gone Wild. From what I understand, and I've never actually seen it, I've only seen the commercials. Was it literally just like girls flashing the camera? Was that pretty much it?
And I think it's like, it's actually kind of disturbing because they would take advantage of like drunk girls basically and offer them like free merch to like flash the camera. And
yes,
so
I remember this.
It was very exploitative. I feel like I think a lot of those girls like ended up, I don't know, like suing or whatever, or just being really upset for being included because like, yeah, you're taking advantage of someone in like a drunk moment. And like, you know, like, can someone really consent to being on camera when they're like intoxicated? So it's very much like they would just show up like, I don't know, I'm assuming they would go to Florida where like a spring break party was happening,
where
and they would
everything
just
is
kind
happening.
of and they would just like target drunk girls, unfortunately.
Yeah, my favorite part about Yick and Arthur talking about this is that Yick says, "I hear it's so hot, you'll fry your eyeballs."
And Arthur legit looks terrified when he says that. Like, I really think Arthur, like, does not know what to think of this. Like, he's sort of going along with it, but this is not something like Arthur would be instigating.
It would not be on his radar.
No.
No, he wants to play
Arthur
some
is a
NES.
sweet boy. Yes, he's extremely wholesome, not trying to disappoint anyone ever.
He's always wearing his house key around his neck. And I think in this episode, he's also wearing a Chicago Cubs t-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I loved.
But, and Yick, I think, you know, like Yick, so we find out he has an older brother. So it also kind of makes sense, like with an older brother, he's getting into his stuff and he finds this, and that, you know, that's why because Yick doesn't seem like, you know, neither of them are really interacting with girls in any way.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I guess the kind of general theme of the episode, right, is like pressure to agree to things. You know what I mean? Like, I think this isn't something Arthur would normally want to do, but Yick does, so he's going along with it.
But it sort of makes sense that, you know, the boys are sort of like going down one path, and like the girls are more sort of like, you know, trying to imagine being in that situation. I don't know, like the girls are sort of talking about like the feelings and feeling ready, and the boys seem more interested in the like mechanics of sex.
Yeah,
Yes.
like later
Absolutely.
on, Wheels just asks his dad, "What do you do?
How did you know what to do?
What to do?"
Yeah, like exactly what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually
All
really
right.
love that discussion. So,
We'll get there. Yeah.
So, over in the girls' bathroom, Steph is talking to the twins about her date and telling them that she's going to wear something so sexy his tongue will hang out. But then the twins ask about her mom since she doesn't know how Steph dresses at school, and Steph has clearly not considered this part of the plan.
yeah, it's a bad plan.
Yeah, it's a bad plan.
It's a very bad plan. After school, Steph walks into a pharmacy and we learn that her mom is the pharmacist there. Her mom is on the phone with a man named Michael, telling him to cool it with the vitamin C. She ends the call and reveals that she has a date with Michael, who is cute in his own way. And Steph is actually like really stoked about this, and Mama Kay is like relieved that Steph is being so chill.
Okay, first of all, I also had her in my notes as Mama K. But second of all, don't you think that the casting for this is so good? I think she looks like she could actually be Steph's mom, to the point where I actually looked up the actress to figure out if they were related. They're not,
Okay.
but I just thought
They
they looked similar.
they do kind of look alike. They have the same general like style.
I think it's cool that like both Steph and Arthur, like their circumstances for approving of the fact that their mom is going on a date are like sort of self-serving. Like they're kind of excited about this development because it'll help their wacky plans. But I feel like it's cool because if they actually had a problem with the mom going on a date, they would have said something in this moment, right? Like even if they did have something else going on, if they, like I feel like I don't have any personal experience with this, but like I feel like on TV shows, the parents will be like, I have a date, and the kid will get like very defensive, and yeah, like
Right.
that can be its own storyline or own like piece of drama. But yeah, I feel like it's kind of wholesome that both the kids are like, oh great, you've got a date, wonderful.
They seem
Yeah.
like legitimately excited for
Yeah.
their mom. And this scene was actually like pretty cute between the two of them. Like, even when she's on the phone, Steph is just kind of smiling and she's like asking her mom a lot of questions about the date and stuff. And like, like, yes, of course, she's glad that that Friday night is now free for her to, like dress however she wants for her date. But I think that she is like legitimately excited for her mom, and her mom's also like really thoughtful in this scene because she's like, she literally says like, I'm so relieved. And then when she tells her about her plans, she's like, oh, I'm sorry if that messed up your plans, I can change them if you need me to. Like, you can see that like they have sort of a good relationship, but then we also can see the parts of their relationship that are not good. And we sort of see why Steph is maybe, living this double life in terms of like how she's presenting herself, because her mom is like extremely naive about having teens, like basically about having teens in her house.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah, her mom is super hands off, but also really judgmental, which isn't a great combination.
Yeah. And her mom also says like their parents have been like divorced for a couple of years now. So I think it's not like fresh or anything, and I think that's why they're kind of like, cool mom, maybe you should get a life.
There
So
it
the
is.
next day at school, Arthur has revealed to Yick that Stephanie K is his sister. And just then, Steph walks by and Arthur says hi to her. She tells him to buzz off, and then he yells after her, "You can't pretend I'm not your brother forever."
A power move.
Yeah, I love
Total
it.
power move. It gets her attention. She's like, look, it's nothing personal. I have to protect my image, and I don't want to talk to grade 7s. Arthur's like, there are people too, and she's like, debatable.
I love
So
it.
this is
I
just
love
like
that.
kind of a classic sibling fight.
It just does kind of suck because really she could use her social status to kind of insulate him or protect him from bullying. Because obviously we've seen that Joey has targeted Yick and Arthur before, but instead she's just completely hands off, just like her mother.
Oh.
Yeah, because we'll see in later Degrassi seasons where like maybe we don't know that two characters are related, but then when the younger sibling is like being bullied or something, the older sibling kind of like steps in. So I'm thinking about someone specific, but we'll talk about it when we get there. But it is like the lengths that Steph goes to just pretend that they're not related is really weird, but also like seems part of this, like she has a very cultivated image at school that's like completely different from like who she is, in her home life.
And you do kind of wonder who she really is.
Right.
Because like it feels like the people that she goes to school with don't actually know her. Like they don't
Right.
really know anything about her. And it seems like she's only really shared vulnerable moments with Vula, who now is not speaking to her.
Right. Like she clearly has a past with Vula where it seems like Vula was the only person that she was really honest with in her life and who knows her enough to like ask her questions that like seem to like really sort of like get to Steph. In the way that like when she's talking with the twins, it's way more like gossipy, but like Vula seems to have much more of a genuine relationship with Steph.
There's just a lot of bravado in her relationship with her other friends, and with Vula she can actually give her real information. And she
Right.
can share things with Vula that she doesn't feel like she can share with other people. Because with Vula she doesn't have to protect her image.
Yes, and also Vula just does not seem like the type to gossip.
No.
So she seems pretty trustworthy. So, Arthur asks if, Steph and their mom have any plans for the weekend. Steph tells him that they're both going out on Friday and that their mom has a date. Arthur is also stoked about this information, also for his mom, but so that they can watch pornography as a group activity. Big Friday night plans.
Hell yeah.
In the family living room, I'm assuming.
Oh.
So over in the library, Steph is talking to the twins again, and they're asking what she would do if Wheels tried anything on their date. And Steph says maybe she'll let him. If she felt like it, she'd do anything. Anything!
If she felt like it.
If she felt like it, which I was like, honestly, I was like, yeah, fair enough. That kind of seems like the general, like, my plan is if I feel like it to do something. I don't necessarily have a problem with that, although I don't think Steph is really thinking through what anything might be. But she says she's been on dates before and she can handle it. Some
And
boys
Shane in the background is like, handle.
Yeah. There's lots of like eavesdropping on conversations in this episode, even unaddressed. Like when Arthur and Yick are talking by their locker, like Spike is like in the background, like staring at them. So it's a lot of weird, like people just totally listening in on each other's conversations.
Tons and tons of lurking in this episode.
Especially in the library, it feels like they always have conversations that they like intentionally want people to overhear. Because that's like every convo in the library.
Yeah. Has anybody ever heard of like a private conversation? None of these people seem to communicate on the phone. They don't talk like outside. You know what I mean?
Like the stairwell where they buy drugs. Like that seems like a place you could have this conversation.
Oh, that's prime listening real estate though, because you don't know who's upstairs on that landing.
True.
There's very few places.
They could also talk in the bathroom as long as they check all the stalls first.
Yeah, we'll get to that. No one ever checks the stalls. What's with that?
Truly. Speaking of which, over in the boys' bathroom, those two dudes basically run over to tell Wheels that he's gonna make it with Steph because she says she can handle it. And they say that they hope he's up for it. And Wheels says if she wants it, she'll get it.
Okay, this outfit of Wheels's in this scene is my pick for outfit of the week.
Oh.
Yeah, he is rocking like a very soft butch lesbian, like it's like a striped polo shirt tucked into some pretty tight brown. I can't tell if they're cords or if they're just like jeans. I think they're cords, maybe based on.
I'm looking at your screenshot, and they do look like cords.
And I just think, what a look. His like hair is kind of a little feathered. I love it.
It is good. It is a good bathroom look. Brown looks great in a bathroom.
Brown on brown.
Peep that look on our Instagram. I'm sorry, OKAY.
Pod.
Nailed it. So I gotta say, I cannot relate to any of this library or bathroom talk. I've never been part of such a group. I was not part of such a group discussion in middle school. Very likely not in high school either. These people talk too much. I'm sorry.
These people talk about doing stuff that I could not have dreamed of in middle school, which does bring me to an anecdote if you guys would like to hear about a time in middle school in 7th grade that I heard that two people were doing something I had never in my wildest dreams imagined.
Wow, with a setup that, how could I say no?
Was it robotic swamp sex?
It was fucking close. Okay, so the names in this story have been changed because in real life they were very distinct names. So we will call the boy Kyle because I feel like that's like a pretty average Northern Illinois dude in the late 90s name. And we will call the girl Maria. Okay, so I was very good friends with this guy named Kyle, and at some point he got suspended from school, I think, for fighting. And I had a class with Maria, and for the whole week, I swear he was suspended for maybe 2 weeks, but I'm guessing I have lengthened that in my head, and it was actually a week. So every day, because I lived near him, Maria would give me a note to deliver to him, and then he would give me one back to take to her. Now, the entire time, I would like to be clear, I did not read the notes until this last one, but I was a very good messenger. I also was like in love with him, so I thought like I'll just be his pal who will bring him these notes, and he'll see that he really loves me. Absolutely not. Like, she was gorgeous. She was like the first girl in middle school to get like really big boobs. She was definitely what guys were watching porn for. So finally on the last note, I was just like, what could they possibly be talking about in these notes that they can't just talk about on the phone or when he comes back to school? You know what I mean? So I opened it up, and it was, even as an adult, I'm horrified by the language in this note. But it was just like, dear Kyle, I miss you so much, all the usual stuff. And then it was just like, I can't wait to feel your dick sliding between my tits until you come all over me like you did last time.
Oh!
Now, first of all, last time? Last time! They did this shit before. And second of all, I was just like, he is putting his what where? And that was how I learned about titty fucking. And I had to like really think about it. I had to like imagine the mechanics of it. But also, I don't know how anyone found out that I had read this note. Like, maybe I didn't. When people in middle school used to fold stuff up into like little, like, they almost were like the paper footballs, like little triangles. I think I didn't do it quite right. And so I think he told her that the note looked like it had been read or something. So then for the rest
Damn.
of the time that he was suspended, she followed me home to make sure I delivered the notes without reading them, and was like, "I'm gonna kick your ass." And I was like,
What?
Wait,
a simpler
what? Why
solution,
didn't she just deliver the notes?
Yeah, what?
because they weren't allowed to see each other because he was suspended. I think my guess is he was like fighting over her or something. Like that would be my guess. So
Wow.
that's just a little story about how I found out that people were doing stuff when I was like 13.
Incredible.
And I was just like at home playing Nintendo,
Playing some SNES.
legitimately playing some SNES, trying to get past that minecart carnage level in Donkey Kong Country, just like
Living the dream.
probably listening to like Natalie Imbruglia. I don't know. It was the late 90s. Shit was dire. But yep, that's
Wow.
I feel like people I knew were probably doing things, but I absolutely did not know about it. I was a new kid in 7th grade, so I was also primarily at home alone, maybe watching some Lifetime, probably listening to new metal, possibly crying. Definitely not on my radar.
I mean, I
At
was
all.
watching Dawson's Creek, so I obviously like I knew people had sex from
Yeah.
Dawson's Creek. But I did not know about some of the other things that were possible to do with the human body. And
No.
yeah, I didn't tell anybody. I got all the way through middle school, all the way through high school, and I didn't tell anybody. And I think that was like, I don't know, that was difficult for me. I wanted someone to tell this to and be like, "Can you believe this?" But
Wow.
here we are, and now I've told you.
Yeah, that sounds intense to just like you're like
Yeah, well, you think that like your friends are like all kind of like you, and then you realize your friends are not like you. They are doing so much more stuff.
Maybe when this dude asked his dad, like, but what exactly do you do?
His
dad was like, here, son, here's some things you can do without worrying about teen pregnancy.
nice.
I don't even think you'd have to worry about STDs with that either.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Unless
Perfectly
stuff got
perfectly
explosive.
safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, as the boys are talking in the bathroom, like they kind of leave, and then we see that Arthur has been in the stall the whole time and has overheard their conversation. And like, y'all, poor Arthur.
Yeah. This guy's just having to listen to people talk about his sister, who no one's allowed to know is his sister.
Right. And the way that they're talking about her isn't really cool.
All the way with Stephanie K. And I love that they say it in unison, like they'd clearly rehearsed it before they went and found Wheels.
They like couldn't wait to say it.
I mean, that was her presidential campaign slogan. So, I mean,
Actually, you know what I wanted to say practically was, so far their date is just going to a movie. So like, where are they actually planning on having sex? Like at the movie?
I mean, it all started by Joey being like, "Oh, you guys can sit in the back and neck."
Which does seem like, that seems like a reasonable expectation for a date.
Yeah, even then, first date when you're like in 8th grade. I think a lot of people were like, quote unquote, going out for a while before they even kissed. At least people I knew.
Yeah.
What did I just know a lot of people who were like extras on Happy Days or something? Like, like, you know what I mean? Like, was it that kind of level of wholesome? Because maybe my experience and the experiences of those around me were not actually representative of like the millennial middle school demographic.
I think there's an array of experiences. I mean, do y'all remember that movie 13?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that there are like teens who are having those experiences, but I don't think that it's like the majority necessarily.
Yeah.
Back in Radich's class, Steph is writing a note to Wheels telling him to meet her at her house at 7:30. She signs it with a little heart over the I and Stephanie.
Classic.
Yeah, very, very classic note. She tries to get his attention, but this dork is actually listening to whatever Raditch is talking about. So she drops her book on the floor so that when she picks it up, she can hand wheels the note, which is a classic move.
Can I just say though, at no point does she like say his name. She just keeps going psst,
Yeah.
psst.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, I wouldn't turn around either. So already their
Right.
communication is off to a bad start, I think.
Lacking.
Yeah.
So just like the fact that she hands him this note, everyone in class starts whispering about how they're gonna make it and go all the way. And it was very reminiscent of the way that rumors were spreading in class in Caitlin's dream in Rumor Has It.
Oh yeah, totally. I hadn't
I
really
think
put those two together.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it was sort of like a throwback to that scene.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
So after school, Wheels and his dad are walking their dog along the beach, which is an incredibly wholesome activity. And Wheels asks his dad about when he lost his virginity, if he was nervous, and how he knew what to do, like exactly what to do. And this is when we learn that Wheels' true identity is that of Derek.
Derek.
So Wheels' dad's beach look is my look of the week. He's wearing this, I don't really know how to describe this jacket, but it's like a light jacket of some kind with a lining.
It might be like a windbreaker, maybe.
Kind of a windbreaker with a button up, not buttoned all the way to the top, and some kind of cardigan or sweater vest under it. This is fantastic stuff.
Honestly, so good.
Yeah.
It's such a good look.
His look is just like, it's this whole package. He's got the look, and I feel like the advice that he doles out to this kid, this must be taking him like off guard, right? Like there's no way his dad was expecting this conversation on this wholesome little beach watch, but like he kind of went for it. He was just kind of honest with this kid. I wouldn't say that he had the most charismatic way of speaking. His advice wasn't the best, but like he was being as straightforward as he could be in that moment, and I appreciated that.
I think he did pretty well. I mean, right. So every episode of Degrassi Junior High is only like 20 something minutes. So you can't really have these really long, involved conversations. I love that when Wheels asked his dad how old he was, he's just like, I was a lot older than you. And then his dad says, sex isn't something that you do for fun. It's complicated and it comes with responsibilities. And I actually, part of me was kind of like, oh, it is sort of for fun. But I guess when you're 14, you don't want to drive that point home. You kind of want to drive the point home.
I mean, I think he says just for fun.
Yeah, it isn't just for fun.
I guess that's what I mean, is that like his words aren't perfect. Like I appreciate the way that it's not like written with any level of nuance. Like he says something that maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but like that's just how he feel. Like I get a sense that this character feels that way, and that's just like his unfiltered, like, well, this is just my take, here you go. And like that's fair. It never feels like he's saying you have to listen to exactly how I feel and this is what it's like. Like he's just sort of sharing.
It doesn't sound like it's coming from a place of judgment. Like it just sounds like it's coming from a place of like support but caution, like being like, okay, well, if you're asking me this, you're obviously thinking about it. So I'd like to drive home that yes, there's lots of responsibility involved.
But yeah, no, I love this little combo. I think his dad is very sweet.
He's doing his best.
Yeah, he's definitely trying. You know, my issue is that he mentions consequences, but he doesn't actually say what any of the consequences of sex might be. And like this kid is really asking him for specifics, but his dad is just vaguely saying that he's too young and that there's other good times to be had, but like what specifically, like I feel like the only thing that he didn't do was give specific examples. Like there are consequences, you know, like pregnancy, like, you know, sexually transmitted infections. Like, you know, there are like, here's what you have to actually think about when you're thinking about sex, like the feelings involved. Like, you know, sex brings up a lot of feelings for people. And like, so I just think that, you know, it caught him off guard. He did the best that he could. But I think that you, especially if your kid is like asking for specifics, you need to give them specifics, or else they're going to find out about it like somewhere else. And that might not be the best advice. It's also kind of funny that like he asks his dad about like his experience, like
He makes it very personal.
yeah, he's like, what was your personal experience? And like parents, like really in this episode, they really do not want to talk about it. So like, I feel like his dad could have been like, you know, like if he was older, like, you know what? I waited until I was older and I was glad that I did, because I was in a relationship with someone that I really cared about, and it made the experience like, you know, like it made it a really great experience because we had, you know, whatever. Like he could have used that opportunity to give examples of like what waiting longer, like how that benefited him, instead of just like, oh, you're too young to think about this. It's like, well, he's thinking about it, so
Yeah, now's the time to communicate these specific points. And I think there's still a stark contrast between the way that Steph's mom talks about it and the way that Wheels' dad talks about it. And
Well, I've got some notes for that.
yeah, I do
so
too.
yeah, so let's get to that. So in the next scene, Stephanie and her mom are having dinner with some big old glasses of milk. Steph,
This is some goyish as shit, by the way. This is like, you would have never gone into a Jewish household and seen a bunch of people sitting around the table drinking a glass of like, and it looks like whole milk.
But yeah.
Like,
the
thick.
milk carton is sitting on the table as if someone might want a second enormous glass of milk. So Steph asks her mom about the first time she had sex, and her mom literally drops the food off of her fork because she is so shocked by this question from her 14-year-old daughter. Her
It
mom
makes
says
the most disgusting sound. By the way, it is. I tried to figure out what it was. I'm 98% sure that is fettuccine Alfredo, which is just like so much more dairy in addition to the glass of
dairy
milk.
on dairy on dairy.
They're probably gonna
Let's
have ice
wash
cream for
down this
dessert.
dairy with some additional dairy. So her mom says they should talk, but then she totally blows it and just doesn't have the conversation. And then Steph is kind of over it at that point, and she's like, I already know all that stuff. I'm not a little kid anymore. And as she says that, she has like a milk mustache, which I think is supposed to be like, oh, but she's still a kid.
Innocent.
I mean, she's also wearing a baby pink sweater with little koalas on it.
Yes.
And like a little pink bow in her hair or whatever. Or
I think it's
clip.
like a banana clip.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
A clip.
Is that a banana clip?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of those classic hair clips, which I personally love.
I mean, listen, it's a dope sweater. It was definitely runner up for look of the week for me. But you know, I think Steph was hoping to have more of a human moment with her mom, and her mom is just like, oh, we should talk about the facts of life. And Steph's like, well, I know about that stuff, which I actually like. She probably does from health class at school. So truly, she does just want to hear about her mom's experience.
Fucking tanks it here. Mom just blows it. I wrote
she totally biffs it.
My exact note is not ready for primetime players, all-star. Just fucking like as a TV show depiction, I love it. The look on her face is just like she's horrified by her own daughter asking her a question. It's so embarrassing, but it feels so real. Like it feels so accurate to like the way a person like this might react when it's like, you fucked to create this being and you're not even ready to like pass that knowledge down. Like, lady, get it together. Unacceptable.
It is, once again, you know, they're both asking like on a human level, what was your personal experience? And you know, earlier I said like the Wheels asked about his dad losing his virginity, but they actually don't even say that, which I appreciate because, you know, virginity is like a social construct. It's like meaningless except for the meaning we apply to it. They're both just like, what was your first time having sex like? And neither of the parents will like share any details. And it's such a missed opportunity. One, because I really doubt that any teens actually ask their parents this question. Like, would you have ever asked your parents, what was your first
No.
like time like?
My mom would have been too excited to give me all of the information, so I have never asked. And I
I
believe that that was the right decision for me.
My mom would have just told me that she waited until she was married. Like, I would not have gotten a legit answer.
My mom definitely didn't wait till she was married and wanted me to know that. And like the second I got to high school was like, would you like birth control? I was like, Mom, I'm like a nerd. No.
But you're like Arthur. Later on, Arthur is like, don't worry, Mom, I'm not sexually active.
Yeah, and it's like to the surprise of absolutely no one.
Like,
Yet
nobody.
again, I'm identifying with Arthur in that one moment.
Yeah, same.
Literally how I would have talked to my mom.
But yeah, throughout the episode, you know, Mama K is acting like it's shocking that Stephanie is thinking about sex in any way, even though she went directly to her mom to talk about it. And it's like exactly what you would hope that your kid would do. And it's really weird that her mom has just never considered that her daughter might be interested in sex one day.
And also, her mom works at a pharmacy. Like, surely she
Yeah.
has these kinds of questions all the time. And as we will see, like, works with people who are looking for the correct birth control. So you would think that she would have a bit of a handle on how to talk about it, even if it is just a very like clinical conversation. That would still be
Right.
better than absolutely nothing, which is what Steph got.
I mean, I do think that, like, in some ways it's a mistake in that the way that adults do tend to talk to kids about sex is only talking about consequences and like never talking about feelings, because I think that the feelings around sex is a lot of what you know, young people are unprepared for when they do start having sex, and that's the thing that's like really difficult to kind of like sort out and like figure out. And that's the thing that kids at that age are like just kind of learning how to like impulse control, and like that's what they're, and that's the thing that is pushing them to think about this is the feelings that they're having. But like so often like feelings are just completely left out of the equation. And I think that, you know, later on when we talk about Vula, but this is why I like love Vula, because she's the only one who really addresses the feelings like around it. But yeah, just in general, it's just like, I think it's like such a mistake because it's not the way that kids are thinking. Like they're thinking about how they feel about somebody and how they want that person to feel about them. And so of course the factual information is important, but I think it has to like also come with a discussion of like all of the kinds of feelings that might come up.
Absolutely. It's the thing that they don't talk about in health class and sex ed and any of this stuff. They really only they show you slides of like chlamydia or whatever, and they show you the stages of pregnancy, and they really don't talk about the emotional aspect of it at all. And I wonder if that's because they think that that will make it like too real or too accessible, like making kids think that like, oh, I am in love with my boyfriend, so I am ready to have sex, or you know, something like that.
Right, right. But then it's like, you know, so what does it mean that you're in love with your boyfriend? Like, shouldn't we be like teaching kids how to like actually explore what those feelings mean instead of just like, okay, well, if sex is between two people who are in love and I think I'm in love with my boyfriend, then doesn't that mean that, you know, we should be having sex?
I mean, we're basically waxing on like how unprepared most school systems and parent like networks are to handle with dealing with kids in general. So I mean, we could go
Right.
on about this
Yeah,
forever. I don't
absolutely. We
know.
could talk
But yeah,
about this
it's
for like
it's
3
just a
hours.
classic, like, yeah, you know, denying that like teens are people and they have feelings And like, it's valid. It's valid to have feelings. It's valid to have desires. And, you know, what you really should be thinking about is, you know, what are the ways to express those things without like hurting yourself or hurting someone else. All right, that's the end of my speech. So at school the next day, Joey finds Wheels in the hallway and he asks if he has protection, safes, rubbers, condoms, prophylactics, a classic Joey Jeremiah moment.
Love that he's always ready to rattle off a list.
He's riffing.
Yeah, does this dude just have like a thesaurus like on him at all times?
Yeah, up here in his brain.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So he's starting, so we see that the boys are starting to move on from this like just vague idea of like making it, going all the way, to like Joey's starting to think about the practical kind of concerns about like having sex.
Do you think that part of that is to freak Wheels out because he's jealous that Steph wants to date Wheels instead?
I'm just kind of
Yeah.
pushing him.
He kind of seems like he's trolling him a little bit, like, hey, so like, you really ready for this? Actually, all the boys, because the other boys also ask him if he's like up for it. So it's very like toxic masculinity.
Where's that captain of the soccer team guy? I feel like he'd be all over. Yeah, Jason. Where's he? I feel like he'd just be all about this toxic masculinity right now.
You know, I'm constantly wondering, where's Jason? I miss him and his and his heel energy. But I feel like Jason would not have been interested in girls. He seemed pretty singularly focused on sports.
This is true.
Okay, so over in the girls' bathroom, Vula walks in to find Steph there. Steph is putting on all the blue eyeshadow, all the way up to her eyebrows.
I just wrote, in the girls' bathroom, Steph is caking on her eyeshadow as usual.
So
it's like she's getting ready for like a regional theater performance.
Like, yeah, they have to see you all the way from the back row. So Vula asks Steph if she's really gonna, you know.
You're not really going to, you know, are you? Don't you see, Vula? I already messed up one date. I want him to like me. Well, if that's the only reason he likes you, and just because he wants to doesn't mean you have to go all the way. Maybe I want to do it too. Do you?
Like, OMG, Vula can't even say it. Like, can you even imagine like Vula asking her hot dad about the first time he had sex? She would just be like grounded for the rest of her life immediately.
She's probably going to get grounded when she gets her first period.
Yeah. So Steph says she already messed up one date with Wheels and she wants him to like her. So this is where we do start to see, you know, Steph had a lot of bravado earlier, but now we're starting to see like where that comes from, and it's not really coming from a good place. It's not like Steph is like really like, I just really feel ready. Like, her main motivation seems to be that she wants Wheels to like her. And Vula's like, you know, just because he wants to doesn't mean that Steph has to go all the way. And Steph's like, well, maybe I want to too. And Vula's like, do you?
Yeah,
valid points from Vula.
Vula knows Steph, so she knows that she's not ready for this.
We're getting like, I mean, I wrote classic Vula. I feel like we've only had like 2 episodes where we've seen her, but like, yeah, she's like trying to help, but she's not really presenting the strongest case here either, but she's doing her best. She heard some rumor, you know, she's hearing these rumors circulating and she's like, well, this person sucks, but like, I feel like I gotta help her out.
She can see behind like the facade that Steph kind of puts up for everyone else, like acting like she's super experienced, and that she's kind of ready for whatever. But then it seems like she's not actually as experienced as she's like letting on.
No.
And I just think Vula handles it like so much better than, you know, Steph's mom, basically, because like she's clearly worried about Steph, but instead of like shaming her, she's like asking her thoughtful questions so that Steph thinks about whether she's really ready. And just kind of letting her know, like, hey, even if Wheels wants to have sex, like, you can still make your own decision. And she's the only one who's like talking about Steph's like feelings and how
And
she's actually
agency.
feeling. Yeah, her
Autonomy,
agency,
yeah.
her motivation. Like, she's, you know, like, have you really thought about this? Yeah. And so this is kind of the thing that like brings them back together. By the end of the episode, they seem to kind of be friends again. So it seems like Vula did have every right to be mad, but this is also her friend and she still cares, like, what happens to her. So after school, Joey and Wheels go to the pharmacy and head to the safe section.
Of all the gin joints, by the way, of course he walks into this one. Can I just say, so Toronto, as previously discussed, 2.93 million people. It has 323 pharmacies in it. What are the actual chances that out of 300 plus pharmacies, Wheels is going to go to the one that Steph's mom works at?
I guess I could see maybe if it's a neighborhood pharmacy, if they're all like, like I get the sense from Degrassi as we progress throughout the seasons, there's like places like the Dot, there's like places that everybody kind of always goes to. And so I guess I could be convinced that there's just the neighborhood pharmacy that everyone goes to.
Yes, but that doesn't mean that everyone's parents live and work in the same neighborhood as Degrassi.
And Wheels seems to live by like a body of water.
That's true.
And it doesn't like, that doesn't necessarily seem like, Steph and Arthur's neighborhood. But I don't know.
I love that Joey's just messing around with, he's clearly revealing that he's just messing with Wheels at this point. He's just like, oh, maybe this one or maybe this one. Hey lady, could you help us out? Bye. And just pieces out on Wheels holding a little like 3-pack of condoms. Amazing.
People buying condoms on Degrassi is such a specific thing and they are always hilarious. But Joey beckons Steph's mom over and says, yo, could we get some service over here in the safe section?
Blowing that shit up. Incredible.
He's kind of like calling Wheels like bluff. He's like, oh, you're going to have sex? All right, dude, then let's go buy condoms. Like, you think you're ready for this? Then are you ready for like this other part where you have to actually like prepare for this?
And you actually have to put it on and know how to do it. Enjoy.
Later.
I'm sure Wheels would just ask his dad what it was like the first time he put on a condom.
He'll be like, I was 40 years old.
Your mom helped me.
Oh, no.
So Wheels.
That was so good.
What the fuck?
I mean, we do find out later that Wheels is adopted, so there's also no proof his parents have ever had sex.
Oh yeah, maybe that's why his dad was uncomfortable, because he was like, I've never actually had sex. I'm not sure how to answer this question. So Wheels buys some condoms. Mama Kay gives them some pamphlets on family planning and sexually transmitted diseases. She's like, well, if you're buying this, you should also have these.
We see later that this is a how to say no abstinence pamphlet, so fuck out of here. Ew.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily seem like the pamphlet for if you're buying condoms. Maybe perhaps if you're buying the Plan B pill or something. I don't know.
No, we are already past the saying no point when someone is buying the condoms, right?
Yeah,
or like just
not helpful info. Again, way to
Mama
blow
Kay.
it, lady.
Yeah, every turn, Mama Kay just ruins it.
Because it's also like there's a difference between like you should think about if you're really ready for this and like abstinence. Like abstinence is a whole like lifestyle choice that you're trying to like force onto someone who's not necessarily interested in it versus like, are you physically and emotionally ready for this?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like when we talked about Dare in the drugs
Mhm.
episode, and just kind of telling people don't do it hasn't really had an amazing effect. And like, I don't know, I think we went to like an abstinence only sex education program, I think, like ish, right? Like I feel like we were taught like the only safe sex is no sex. It's a bullshit message.
It's a good message to be like, saying no is always an option.
Yes, exactly. That's
Yeah.
like, it's like,
That's the end of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once again, Mama K not doing the best in her professional role here. All right, so back at the K household, Arthur arrives home with the tape. He hides it behind his back and, tells Steph that people are talking about her at school. Steph is like, I can take care of myself. But Arthur is not even being judgmental. He's just kind of like, look, I'm your brother, even if it's only on the weekends. And like, I don't like when people are talking about you. So they have kind of like a little moment here where Arthur's also like, he's trying to show Stephanie, like, hey, I care about you and I'm worried about this. And he's not like really being judgmental or anything. He's just sort of like, I think you should know this.
Yeah, because like when Vula asks, you know that she's also asking about it from like a place of judgment because she wouldn't be having sex. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's not super judgmental, but you know that
Yeah.
it's in there.
Yeah.
Whereas like
Yeah.
I feel like when Arthur's asking, he's really just kind of like, "Are you really gonna do this?
Right.
I'm worried about you."
Yeah. Yeah. And so like, mom arrives home too, and Arthur is still holding this VHS behind his back like the whole time. Like, honestly, why?
Just put it in your backpack, dude.
Under your
Wouldn't you
bed.
specifically hide it? I almost wondered if he was kind of trying to get caught to like get out of this situation. But I think he's just a dummy. So we also find out, and this is when the mom like tells Arthur officially that she's got this date, and Arthur's just like, that's great, mom. And so she's just kind of like, the mom also seems like she's looking for an excuse to back out of this date, but her kids are just like, cool, good for you. But yeah, and then we also find out that mom's date has been pushed back to 7:30. Initially, it was supposed to be at 7. So now her date is supposed to arrive at the same time as Steph's date.
Dun dun dun.
Oh no!
And Arthur calls Yick and invites him over for swamp sex robots promptly at 7:45. So we've got plans on plans all colliding here. I don't know if we actually learned this, but I think that Wheels' last name is Wheeler. Is this correct, LD? Did you tell me this information?
I did tell you this information. I don't think we've technically found that out yet, but
Okay. But I will call it the Wheeler household.
yeah, I mean, we do now know that his name is Derek, so you can make assumptions about his last name, although I suppose you could make various assumptions.
You know what? From this point forward, I will refer to him as Derek's daddy. So over at the Wheeler household, Wheels is getting ready for his date. And he actually has a really nice bedroom with like a beautiful view of the water. I don't know what body of water they live by, but it's lovely.
His outfit is like a Fat Albert cosplay, by the way. He's got that red sweater with a white collared shirt underneath.
So Wheels is sitting in his window. He looks over the pamphlets, probably hoping that they will tell him exactly what to do because he's still not sure. Okay, so back at the K household over dinner, Mama K asks, what do you children have planned for this evening? Which honestly sounded really psychotic to me.
Yeah, right? She keeps calling them
She kept calling
children.
them children. It was like someone who's never interacted with human beings before was like writing these lines. So Steph says that she's going to a movie. Arthur says he's going to watch TV.
Neither of them a lie.
Exactly. I think this is, like I said in a previous episode, the best lies have some version of the truth. And so these are two very good lies. Mom tells them about the boy who came into the pharmacy earlier and was thinking about becoming sexually active, but was not much older than Steph. Which, first of all, I was like, patient confidentiality, lady. So she gives them the same pamphlets that she gave to Wheels. And this is when Arthur assures her that he is not sexually active.
What a shitty parenting moment. It's like you
Oh.
could have like, here's your second try. You know what I mean? Here's your second chance to have a bonding moment with your kids where you maybe reveal a bit of personal information, where you can recount maybe some of your own experiences, and where you can also slip in a little bit of educational information. But instead, she's just like, here's some fucking pamphlets.
Here's some homework.
Enjoy.
And she doesn't even say, let me know if you have any questions.
Yes.
Middle schoolers love reading through dry information.
Yeah.
Notoriously, I still do.
So, yeah, she just seems like a very naive parent. And like she obviously realizes that she goofed like earlier and she's sort of trying, but she still just like doesn't seem to really have an idea, like any idea of how to handle this situation.
Pathetic.
Yeah, it's not good.
A big swing and a miss.
So over at the Wheeler house, Wheels is heading out for his date. And his dad tells him to remember what he said. And his dad is wearing my look of the week. It's like a very goth prep kind of look. He's wearing like this black crew neck sweatshirt with like a cool like nautical print and then like a white collared shirt. And actually my own outfit today was inspired by his.
I would like to put up a side by side.
Ooh, yes, we should. Although
Yes.
my crew neck sweater is navy blue, unfortunately, but I tried my best.
I think you did great, and I think so did Papa Wheeler.
Me and Papa Wheeler are on the same frequency. So Wheels leaves the house. He kind of pulls the condoms out of his pocket and contemplates them for a minute. And then he heads out to buy a bouquet of yellow flowers. Back at the K household, Steph and her mom are both getting ready for their dates. Arthur is in the living room reading the back of the Sex Swamp Robots cassette.
He still hasn't figured out where to hide this thing.
He's just like holding on to it for dear life.
Right? Like,
It's probably all sweaty from his little sweaty palms. Disgusting. So Steph is wearing a pink like tube top bralette kind of thing and like hot pink leggings.
a look.
It's definitely a look.
It's a choice that she has made. I think it's very similar to, I think in the first episode, we were wondering about if her shirt was a bandeau or a tube top.
Yes. I think this is a bandeau. You're correct.
It's definitely a shirt.
So Wheels and Michael arrive at the same time with the same bouquets of flowers.
And it's just like, Wheels, dude. Like, everyone at school knows that Steph changes in the bathroom. You know what I mean? So, which means that everybody knows that Steph has like a strict mom. So what is he doing? Why does he not hang back? This is the part of the episode that I find completely, like, all the rest of it, fine, man. I am along for the ride. But this, I'm just like, no teenager is going to go up to the front door at the same time as this middle-aged ding-dong and with the same bouquet of flowers and be like, I'm here for Steph.
You're gonna hide. You're gonna like feel awkward and be like, I don't know. I'll wait a minute.
You are gonna peel off, man.
Right. Like if she didn't say like, you have to meet my mom first, then you would absolutely try to avoid any parental interaction.
And also, like,
Yeah.
why hasn't she communicated any of this to him? Like, oh, if there's anybody still there, you know
Watch
what I mean?
out
Like,
for my mom or my mom's
Yeah, wait till my
date.
mom leaves.
yeah, like that's a very normal thing for teenagers to communicate to one another. It wouldn't have been embarrassing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the two of them just haven't actually spoken to each other very much.
No,
That's true.
everyone is just like talking around them. Everyone's orbiting
Mhm.
them. They're really just kind of, they've asked each other to go to the movies. That's it, really. And here's what time.
Yeah, like who knows how this date would have actually gone? Because I honestly feel like the most intimidating part of going on a date at this age is that you have to talk to somebody that you have a crush on.
Absolutely.
But no one's even considering that part, which is like definitely the part that I would have been extremely concerned about. So Arthur sees them both coming and he tries to warn Wheels that he's too early, but Wheels doesn't know that they're siblings. So he's just like, what are you doing
What
here?
are you doing
So
here?
Stephanie's plan actually comes back to haunt her because if
Yes.
Wheels had known that, he could have like ran and hid in the bushes or something.
Yeah, and Arthur's like, you gotta go.
Yeah. But it's too late. Mama Kay comes to the door and she remembers Wheels from the pharmacy. So Steph is just like totally busted. The mom is like, you're that kid from the pharmacy. What are you doing here? Which she also calls him out, which again, patient confidentiality. Like, stop spreading this kid's business everywhere.
Yeah, also I wrote Mama K is a little bit slow on the uptake and asks, what are you doing here? What are those flowers for? Like, girl, really? Like, what do you think? And then, of course,
Seriously.
Arthur tries so hard. He's like, he's interested in horticulture.
Yeah, what, dude?
So her mom, yeah, she sort of starts to piece together like what's going on, and she calls Steph downstairs. So Steph tries to like throw a robe over her outfit, which is also pink, the robe. But as she's coming down the stairs, her outfit is kind of like revealed. And then her mom says,
I don't know what the two of you had planned, but since you bought what you bought, and you look like a tramp, I intend to find out.
Okay, several feelings here. Number one is Steph is a master at putting clothes on top of other clothes. Could she seriously not?
Master of disguise.
Could she seriously not have thrown a sweater and a skirt on over what she was wearing? This is my first question.
We know she has a collection of enormous sweaters. She could have easily just thrown that on over some leggings, and that's like a totally acceptable outfit.
Get that koala sweater, girl. Get it out of the closet.
Ooh,
It's
that has
ready.
pink on it too.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very complete look. But also, Mama K and her judgy, wudgy language.
Oh, yeah.
I am not happy about it.
No. Mama K is canceled.
Mama K can eat shit.
I have an entire paragraph that I wrote if I could share.
Please do.
Yes.
Mama K calling Steph a tramp really sums up this character's arc in this episode. Boomer, abstinence-only white woman who can't even handle a basic conversation about sexuality with her own daughter and then turns around and slut-shames her. She's too intimidated by her own inability to really be there for her kid, so she lashes out like an asshole.
That sums it up perfectly.
Oof.
I have nothing to add.
Don't get me hot, bro.
Also, like, not like that there is an outfit that I would ever describe as looking trampy, because I would never speak that way. But the outfit, to me, I'm like, it's a teen outfit, right? She's wearing leggings and like a top. It's like the mom is like putting her own interpretation onto this like outfit that's like an outfit that like any teen would like, you know, potentially wear.
Yeah.
Of course, she's putting her own interpretation on it because she is incapable of understanding anyone else's experience, as we've seen.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Hate it.
It's
Hate
bad.
Hate it.
The date leaves.
Yeah, so Mama Kay tells Michael, time to go. And he's like, I totally understand. Which I'm also like, how would this dude understand anything that's happening in this situation?
He's incredibly chill. I'll give it to Michael.
Yeah.
He's just like, okay.
Michael's
bye.
the MVP, man.
He's
of this
like,
whole
yo,
episode.
I'm about to go have this Italian food by myself. Check y'all later.
Yeah,
I got
dude.
a reservation, y'all. I don't know.
So Mama K sits Wheels and Stephanie down to talk. And as they're starting, and she is finally like, okay, I'm gonna start with you, Steph. Like, what's going on? So she is finally gonna have like a legitimate conversation, but she's already blown it by like slut shaming her daughter.
She's lost all credibility.
Yeah. And then right as they're starting to talk, the doorbell rings and Yick shows up with a bunch of dudes who start like just yelling about sex swap robots.
We want to see the porno.
A bunch of cavemen roll up. Duh, we're here for porno.
Oh my God.
I love it. I do love it.
It's so rough. And of course, like no one says anything about it. Like I doubt that Arthur got in trouble for having porn or got called a, you know, I mean, what would even the equivalent be? He wouldn't get called a tramp.
No, slut shaming is for girls.
Obviously.
And then they just completely skip over the actual sex talk. They just fast forward to like the next morning before school, which I was honestly like, y'all are really gonna write an episode about sex and then just never actually have the conversation.
Hell yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what's going to happen.
It's fine.
Yeah. So before school the next day, Steph and Vula are walking. You know, they're walking in together. They're both wearing their largest sweaters. I think Steph is wearing a sweater on top of a sweater, which is, you know,
Incredible.
maybe her new life now.
Love it. Yeah.
She says that her mom was furious and lectured her for hours, grounded her for 2 weeks. But basically for lying to her, I think that was mainly what she got in trouble for.
Yeah, all right.
But she didn't really lie. She
didn't
just said she was going to the movie with a friend.
And yeah, it's like, and also let's be clear, just because Wheels was seen buying condoms and then was coming to Stephanie's house does not mean that he was intending to use them with her. If she said, I'm going to the movie with a friend, and technically they are friends because they have not declared any kind of relationship.
Right. Plus, they're going to a movie theater. Is that where the sex was going to happen? Like, it just didn't seem like there was a full sex plan to me.
There was never going to be sex.
There was never going to be sex. Exactly. It was just like a rumor. Vula's actually being really sympathetic towards Steph. And Steph kind of says, you know, she's actually relieved that she didn't have to do anything with Wheels. I don't know if Steph reflected further on this or like what, but it really does seem like her main motivation was not that she had some personal interest in like becoming sexually active, but that she really just wanted Wheels to like her. So it does seem like she kind of realized like that wasn't the best idea.
And I think if you're relieved, then you definitely were not ready.
Yes, absolutely. But once again, if anyone had checked in on these teenagers' feelings, we maybe could have gotten here sooner. Joey finds Wheels and asks how the big date was. And Wheels says nothing happened because their dates don't work out too good. Wheels really talks like a dad.
He is the most Canadian sounding person on the show.
So Wheels also sort of says that, you know, he and Steph are just going to be friends. So then Joey asks if that means that Steph is available. And Wheels is like, yeah. And he's like, all right. And this is like just more like toxic boy culture because like Joey, you don't ask a dude if this girl is available. Maybe you should actually talk to Steph and see if she has feelings for you and stop sexually harassing her in like every single interaction.
Yeah, he just assumes, oh, if she's not going to go out with Wheels, then she is going to go out with me.
Yeah, like, oh, she doesn't belong to you anymore, so then can I own her?
Maybe I can wear her down now.
Seriously. bad vibes from Joey. And so back to Vula and Steph. Like, Vula asks if Steph was really going to do anything, and before she can answer, we get a freeze frame on Steph.
She's kind of got that knowing look on her face,
Yeah,
like,
well-
nah.
Well, a little sly smile. I don't. Do you even think Wheels was actually going to try anything on this date? Try
Absolutely
anything?
not. Absolutely not. He would have been too schwitzy to even hold hands.
Yeah.
He was so nervous because of flowers.
A lot of bravado in this
Yeah.
episode. It's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if those rumors hadn't started, they maybe would have had like kind of a sweet date. Like he would have just showed up at her house with flowers and then they would have gone to this movie.
It actually probably would have been really nice.
And then maybe they would have like held hands. I think this was in like 6th grade, but I went and saw Titanic with this boy that I liked, and we held hands for the entire movie. That's like what, like a 3-hour movie or something?
That's a long handhold.
Our
Aw.
palms were so
I love
sweaty.
that.
Yeah.
That's wholesome.
Very
Yeah.
wholesome.
It's like a nice little memory. Well, he later went to jail, but that's not relevant.
Why are all your stories like this?
I've just always liked the bad boys.
Can't relate. I feel like I identified with Vula in the end, just generally, I guess. I love holding on to a grudge. So I really appreciated that at the beginning of the episode. But then also, like Vula, I wouldn't be able to just sit by if I knew that someone, like say a friend of mine that had been really annoying to me or whatever. I'm still not gonna like sit there and like hear people talking about a friend and just say nothing, even if I'm pissed at this person. Like, I'd say an unfortunate character trait of mine, but yeah, the way that Vula just kind of like swallowed whatever like she whatever like pride she had in the situation or whatever she felt like was righteous, like on her side, like she was just like, all right, I gotta look out for my friend, like I can't just sit by. So I was into that.
Yeah, I didn't specifically relate to anybody, but I would hope that I would give some Vula style advice in a similar situation.
Yeah, I feel like I also didn't really relate to anybody. I didn't see myself in anybody in this episode, but that I would like to think that I would have been very Vula about it if a situation like that had come up. Although I guess like I could have, for example, asked my friend with the note about what was going on, but I think that would have just seemed pervy and nosy.
Right. And then they would have just been mad at you for reading the note.
Yeah, exactly.
Friends. What did we learn from this episode?
I learned that it's better to stumble through a tough conversation and just be honest than it is to pretend like there isn't even a problem, or that pretend like the conversation doesn't need to happen and blow up like an immature asshole later on.
LD, how about you?
I learned that it's better to communicate openly and honestly in any relationship right from the beginning. Neither Wheels nor Steph actually wanted or felt ready for sex, but both of them felt like they had to, which, in my opinion, if Mama K hadn't totally kneecapped their date, might have resulted in a very bad first experience for them both. It's cool to talk about feelings and consent, boundaries, and also what we want from sex. I also think this week that we learned that a judgy, hands-off parenting approach will lead to kids who don't feel like they can have conversations with their parents or confide in them when they actually need guidance, and then they will get that information somewhere or anywhere else.
I learned that teens are very interested in sex And when they ask you direct questions about it, you should probably answer them instead of looking shocked or just telling them that they're too young. Vula in this episode is like a better resource than either Mama Kay or Papa Wheeler because she actually asks Steph about her feelings and doesn't judge her. She wants her friend to know that she doesn't have to do anything she doesn't want to, which I think is a really important message for people who are considering becoming sexually active for the first time. Sometimes people seem to forget that their kids are people with actual feelings, and you can't just shut them down because the thought of them growing up makes you uncomfortable. So I feel like a lot of what we learned from this episode was just judging how terrible all of the adult reactions are to the thought of teens having sex.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we learned something in spite of the episode.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that this idea of pressure that comes from within and also from the people around us is a topic that keeps circling back around in this season. Like we saw it with the dance and with drinking, and we've seen it here. And I think that even seeing it in terms of Melanie's body shaming in The Great Race and the pressure that she felt to maybe not do something that she likes and is very good at because she didn't want to be judged. I think there's so many different kinds of pressure that they're leaning on in this season, and they're talking about some of the ways that we can deal with them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that's it for Best Laid Plans, and next week we'll be watching Nothing to Fear.